So I'm just looking at the Bootstrap CSS, and this is a really good guide for when we should break for responsive. And we can see here that small devices, it's got this number of 768, and smaller, and this is where Bootstrap is breaking it. So Bootstrap, if you're not familiar with Bootstrap, it's the most popular CSS, HTML, JavaScript framework available, and it allows you to create websites quickly, works on this grid system, and when you shrink it down, you have the ability to customize the different functionality depending on the grid. So the grid system is a bunch of different columns, and these are the set sizes. So on small devices, it's got this thing called the media here, and this is where you're actually able to customize the breakpoints. So we're going to be applying the same thing to our website. So when we shrink it down, what I want to do is I want to adjust these to go to stack one on top of the other. Instead of being a horizontal, I want to be vertical, take up the full width, and also I want the sidebar to maybe stack above the comments there, or maybe we could do it vice versa. Or we could just completely hide. What we'll do is we're going to completely hide that sidebar, and we're just going to leave that content there and allow this to take the full width. So the way that we do that, so then I'm going to open this up, and usually the media stuff is added at the bottom. So what it is, you just do media screen, and so this is indicating for the screen. So you've got this thing called min width, and you've got max width. So min width is for anything up to that size and smaller. So what we want to use is max width, and this is where we're going to set that max width. I believe it was 768 pixels. So anything below 768 is going to get these attributes added to it. So the first thing that I want to do is, instead of having this inline block, I'm going to make some adjustments to that, and I'm going to just change it to block. Refresh it and just show you what that does. So whenever we shrink down to a certain size, these actually begin to stack, and this is actually going to work quite a bit better, look quite a bit better. I don't need to repeat that, but I can do something like width 100% and padding . So refreshing this, it should take up the full 100%, and of course our styling is still there, so we might want to remove those or adjust those as well, so that when we hover over, so I'm going to take this one as well and update it. So I want to keep that text decoration none. I want to keep all of this stuff, except when I use padding to 0, and refresh it and see if that looks a little bit better. So that's working out better, looking a little bit better. We still have the problem with the sidebar, so what I want to completely do is maybe hide that sidebar. So our sidebar was just called menu, and we're floating it to the left. So we want to actually ideally remove that float. We want to add padding to, we're just going to actually hide it. So we can do display none, save that, refresh, so that's going to get rid of that. And then one other adjustment that we do need to do, so we want to update this main container, because we're actually going to move this over. We want it to take up 100%, 0 padding, and get rid of that float there. Refresh it. So now our content is taking up 100% space, and so now we're a lot more mobile friendly. So we can see our website if it's being viewed on a desktop, it's going to be full size. When we go mobile, we have a more mobile friendly version. And another thing, maybe we want to update this heading text, because it's not really adjusting very well. There's a few other things to add in with mobile. And when we go over to Bootstrap, we can see that it's got this viewport tag. So this ensures that the rendering and zooming is at initial scale of 1. So we do want to add this in, and we add this in right at the top of our document within the meta section there. And also I'm going to add in this one. So this is disable zooming capabilities, adding user scale no. So this again, this is for mobile first, and this is going to help out with mobile devices. Although you probably won't see much of a difference if you go to the page and refresh it itself. But if you do go on it on a mobile device, you're going to see quite a bit of a difference because it's going to be scaled to 100%. So the one last thing, we did want to adjust that heading, so that H1, so maybe we can adjust that H1 size. So just do font size, and we're just going to bring it down to 1 EM. So that's going to resize quite a bit better and look a lot better within our mobile device. And I guess we still have to move this, this stuff over. So we still have some styling, and a lot of times this is, you do have to play around with this. So we've got some kind of styling that hasn't been adjusted here. So padding. So going back over to this, we can see that what we want to do is pull the unordered list, so the parent over. We see that it's got a margin before of 1 EM, margin afterwards, and we want to completely get rid of that because that's coming in as a default for unordered lists. So going over to the unordered list, we want to remove out those, so remove out the margins completely and remove out the padding completely. Refresh it, and this should bring it over to the left hand side. And now if we wanted to, we could even center the text. So we could do something like text align and center that, and refresh that so our text would be centered. So a number of different options here depending on what and how you want to style it. So that's how you handle responsive and make your website and web template responsive.